Hello and welcome to Film Slam Stream's post-film conversation for Kaghati. My name is Eric Siler, and I'm an instructor of film, media arts, and communications, as well as moderator for this conversation. We are very pleased to be joined by the filmmakers from Kaghati. We have with us Amanda Jayapurna. Sorry if I mispronounced her last name, and Stanley Soendoro. Amanda is currently a lighting artist and at Activision and a recent Savannah College of Art and Design Special Effects alumni. She grew up in Indonesia, but she moved across different countries and cultures, and which has inspired her to tell stories. Stanley, on the other hand, is a 3D animator born and raised in Indonesia. He graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design, has worked on electronic games as well as children's television programs. So hello, Amanda and Savannah. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay. So great to have you. You're able to hear me and say hello?
Yep.
Yes, okay, great. There you go. Okay. Oh, wonderful. I'll start with you, Stanley. Whose idea was it? Was this your project or was this Amanda's project? How did you two collaborate on this wonderful animation?
Yeah, so I guess initially we both wanted to collaborate on making a short animated film because we were both at SCAD studying. Well, I studied animation. Amanda studied visual effects with focusing on animation. And we started out with like gathering a few people, some of our close friends, to create a project. We didn't know what the end product is. We just wanted to collaborate. I guess that's the drive and motivation of this whole project. And yeah, regarding story-wise, I believe we all pitched in a story idea, and in a way, we just sort of like voted on which one tells the most sort of like impact. And at the time, we both pitched like about this kite maker and has like Indonesian culture to it, and we all sort of thought like the story has the potential, and we all jumped aboard and collaborate on this journey film.
So we have a lot of students watching. Some of them are interested in animation. Amanda, what advice would you give to them to create, a simple but impactful story?
I think what's most important is like finding out what you really wish you like had growing up as a kid and also like as an adult too. Like that's kind of what drove me to want to tell this story as well, and it influenced all the character design and like all the details that got poured into the set. I grew up like wishing that I saw more like Southeast Asian type of characters on screen, and like I always like joked that like, oh, our only Disney princess option for a role model was like very limited to people who like looked like me and like came from my sort of background. And so that kind of has always fed into all the types of projects I've been doing in school and out of school, like just trying to show more diversity in the stories I tell and like have more representation for Southeast Asian stories and characters. Yeah, so I guess for a aspiring storyteller, getting to the core of what makes you you and channeling that into like what you want to share, like what specific nuances you can share that other people might not know about.
That's really good advice. So sticking with you, Amanda, I guess when you and Stanley connected, did you two connect to put the story together, or did you connect that since you two have both have ties to Indonesia?
Yeah, we already knew each other from school. And so it was just kind of like a natural, like we've already talked about wanting to make some kind of project, like what Stanley said, not really sure knowing what. So all kind of just seamlessly fell into place as just one idea that turned into like slowly grew bigger and bigger. But for most of the time, we had no intention for this to be a whole like production with all kinds of like meetings and whatever. It was really just we wanted to make something that looked cool for fun during the lockdown periods where we had extra time on our hands. So.
Okay. Now, Stanley, what exactly did you do on the film? What just can you just walk us through that?
Yeah, so I guess our official title is we're both co-directors. As for me, I guess we both like oversee the whole production from start to finish. And on top of that, I'm a 3D animator. That's what I really like to do most. So in this film, I do a little bit of here and there, because again, we start off like a really small team of people that we're so thankful that it grew a little bit by little bit and have more people joining in. I also took care of the initial sort of like production spreadsheets. Again, in the beginning, we didn't even have like these official title. We didn't know who the director was, producer, because we didn't, plan out to make a short film like from the get-go. We just wanted to collaborate. But as Amanda said, everything sort of like fall into places as we go. We all learn together, So yeah, I'm really glad I get to touch a little bit of everything, but particularly mainly in the 3D animation for myself.
Right. And same question to you, Amanda. What specifically did you do on this film?
Yeah, just like Stanley said, it's a little blurred lines between what our roles were because it was a bit of everything. But I think in general, I covered most of the like visual, like design art aspects, and Stanley covered a lot of the like animation, camera aspects, and production, a lot of production as well. So most of what I did was like the lighting and the look dev and the textures and kind of more of the cinematography aspect, versus Stanley really took more of the reins on like the actual like technical camera aspect. So that was a cool like complementary balance of our skills and our interests, that really like helped make the film become like as balanced as like it ended up being.
So I guess to stick with you, Amanda, to reflect your culture, you could have done a number of stories, but you chose Kaghati. I guess it's meaning kite in some form. Why did you choose the kite as opposed to something else you could have gone with?
I'm trying to remember exactly why we picked a kite. I don't think there was a clear reason for that, but Kaghati is actually coincidentally the first kite to have ever been like recorded in human history, and it was found in the Muna Island cave paintings in Indonesia, which is where the film ended up being based. But I'm pretty sure when we were first pitching ideas, I just genuinely wanted something to feel kind of magical and light, and something like I was very influenced by kind of all the aeronautic machines from Ghibli films and things like that, and we wanted something to be more traditional to Indonesia. And since kite flying is such a core part of so many different cultures within Indonesia, it just seemed like the perfect fit. And it contrasted really well to the kind of RC toy plane that the girl has in the story as well. So.
And Stanley, in terms of character development, why was a girl and an older man chosen? Why not an older woman and a young girl, older man, a young boy? Why did you go that direction?
So I think personally, for me, like in the beginning, we knew we wanted an older person and a younger kid. It's a nice contrast and dynamic. And I personally have a close relation with my grandpa growing up. And if like regarding the gender itself, why not a girl and stuff? We explored actually in the beginning. Our concept artist Alyssa created a sketch for a grandpa and a little boy, and I think we just naturally the conversation talked about like, oh, it might be nice if we have this like a little girl, but she likes toy planes as well. There's a lot of going back and forth, and again, it's a nice contrasting like dynamic between a little girl and this grandpa. And about like character development, I don't know if we I don't think we mentioned it before, but in the beginning, we had a longer sort of like story idea that we wanted to create. But with our, number of people that we had, and we want to make it a project that's more realistic, we had to cut down a lot of stuff. So we still wanted to show the main thing of like the character of the little girl who being sort of out of place in her own hometown. So she probably like, grew up in outside of Jakarta, like that reflects sort of like what Amanda's upbringing was. And then when she went home to see her grandfather's hometown, she felt out of place, right? She brought like a remote control toy plane, while the grandpa has a kite, which is more traditional sort of toys. And again, that contrasting, clashing dynamic we want to highlight. And at the end, the girl learns to appreciate her own cultural roots with the grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah, just well done. One thing, the story you chose not to. I'll stick with you, Stanley, for this question. Not to have dialogue, and that lends the story to screen internationally because it's self-explanatory. Talk a little bit about why you did not include dialogue, as opposed in this piece.
Yeah. I would say again, the first and foremost idea of not having dialogue is that so it can translate to everywhere, anywhere, and anyone watching it. There's no boundaries of languages. Make it more universal in a way. I can talk about regarding technical challenges. Having dialogue it's more time consuming for the animators to like animate, but other than that, that's like one tiny aspect of it, I would say, like the least important. But we really want to show, emotions and actions, not through words, but visually, as that's what the animation medium that we chose is, it's meant for visual storytelling. And we want to take advantage of that aspect and in a way turn it into a more poetic film. This is a very short film. So we want to use anything that we have, tools, artistic softwares to create a visual little like piece that we can offer that everyone can enjoy and watch.
Great. Amanda, since this film didn't have didn't have dialogue, I'm sorry, so it had an opportunity to play the screen at a lot of different places. Can you tell us a little bit about where this is screened and the response that you've gotten from the screenings?
Yeah, so we've been truly kind of blown away every time we receive any kind of notification about a film festival submission. There's been a couple that we've been able to screen at in international film festivals in Dublin, in China, in a lot across North America. I think the most memorable one for the entire team was definitely being nominated for the College Televisions Awards, which is hosted by the people who run the Emmys. And so we got invited to all gather in LA and come for a formal screening and like a whole awards ceremony event. And that was really cool because we all got to, since this was such an international team with people from all over the US and the world, like it was cool to have that meeting spot and really celebrate this film that we created online with like through our computers and our pajamas. Like it was cool to get all dressed up and celebrate that together. But yeah, that's definitely been the highlight for us.
Wonderful. I guess most important, I have to ask you this, Amanda. This is for a class assignment. What did your professors think of this?
Well, I'm trying to think. I know they really supported it, especially since towards the end of my senior year, I chose to use my senior elective classes to finish the film. And so I would be sending them updates every week of the progress of the film and things like that. And they've only been supportive and like helped us. It was SCAD who helped us like apply for all the film festivals in the beginning and helped fund us. And so that was something I was really glad that our professors were able to advocate for us in order to get that kind of funding from our school. And so I'm just super grateful to everybody who's watched and like helped us along the journey.
And Stanley, let's talk a little technical here. So the type of animation, was it claymation? What type of animation was it that this film was done in?
It's we call it CG animation,
Oh, you
computer
did CG,
generated.
okay.
Yeah, a formal term, I guess.
Okay, and why did you choose CG as opposed to another form of animation?
Yeah, I mean, coincidentally, that's what Amanda and I focuses during our study at SCAD. But more than anything, really, the process of 3D animation or CG animation is what compelled me into like what made me fall in love in the first place is like the process. Like everything you see on the screen has to be built by an artist. The kites, the tables, the sauce bottle, like on the like everything, like even the smallest props. And I think that's to me was so beautiful to see how our internationally diverse team members came together and learned Indonesian elements, props and the textures, the clothing, and they got to learn culturally, but also get to create it in the 3D world for our film. Yeah, it's a celebration of everyone coming in and work together on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of research and development for this because you wanted an accurate account of what's being displayed. And stick with you, Stanley. How long or how many hours would you say you was spent on making this 2-minute film, or days or years?
Uh, so in the totality of the film, like it from the beginning conception to final product, it took us about a year and a half to complete. But that's, you know, mostly because it started out as a passion project, right? We didn't know where we were going with this. We didn't have like strict deadlines, scheduling, like what most studios have. And we have very limited of number of people, passionate people, I might add, that are willing to contribute their skill set into this project, right? We're all not getting paid. We're not focusing on getting awards or the money. It's us collaborating on a short piece. And it's also during the pandemic. We are all connected remotely. We hosted like weekly meetings just to make sure we're moving forward. But yeah, a year and a half is roughly right, Amanda. I think that's the total time it took for us.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of add to that where like throughout the whole process, I know my parents at least were like, are you guys not done yet?
Oh my
It's
God,
been
yes, me
so
too.
long. So if you're trying to go through a project and you really want the quality to be where like what you're striving for, like don't like you kind of have to ignore people around you for a bit and just focus on like your own project and like making it as best as you can be.
Absolutely. I mean, the detail in this film is just fascinating, fascinating. And anyone who wants to really study animation, especially CG animation, needs to really watch your film and pick out all the details. I can see professors, using this film and pointing out all these little things you did. In closeout, let's just start with you, Amanda. What's next for you? Are you working on something now that we can see in the near future?
Yeah, so me and Stanley are both working on another film that like the core of the team is the same as Kaghati with a lot of extra people that we became friends with or knew through classes and things along the way. So we're not co-directing this time, but someone else on the team is, and it's super cool. It's also based in culture. This time on the completely opposite side of the world. It's based in the Faroe Islands. So we're just super early on in production right now. So not much we can say about it yet, but it's very exciting. Completely different style, but same sort of energy and passion poured into it.
Okay. And Stanley, when do you think we'll see this? Another year and a half, or when do you think?
Oh, to be honest, this is a much larger production in scale compared to Kaghati. So I don't want to give any promises yet, but we are working our best. Again, it's also a passion project. So yeah, I can't give you figures. I'm sorry, Eric.
That's fine. That is fine. Stanley, Soendoro, Amanda, Jayapurna, the co-directors of Kaghati. Thank you both very much for joining us, and I wish you both all the best.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
Eric.
much.
And thank you to our audience for joining us for this important and invigorating conversation. For more information about our upcoming film festival, please visit us at clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.